Hello everyone, welcome. So today I realize it's been a long time since I've done a teaching tip, so today I'm going to do a teaching tip for you guys, and we're going to talk about toe heels. So I'm going to go through a couple things that I've discovered recently in my toe heels and that I've been trying to fix, and hopefully some of you can relate to some of these things and it might help you guys out. So we're going to go through some of the corrections that I've been working on with my toe heels because they seem like a really simple movement, but they can get really tricky, and once you get to a certain level it can be hard to make them look like they're improving all the time because it can be such a simple movement. So first thing that I was working on this past month for my toe heels is that sometimes when I bring my foot into the third to point, I kind of anticipate the heel. So sometimes I get this position where my ankle is broken a little bit, and I personally really don't like the way that looks because even if my toes are curled, it does just kind of look like a claw rather than a pointed foot. And so I always aim to try and get a straight knee from the tip of my knee straight down my shin and straight down to my toe, so that's a nice straight line and that there's no break in the ankle, because that's going to distract the judges if you don't have that nice line from the knee to the toe. So how do I achieve this? Some of the things that I say to myself in my head are to aim to get my toenails on the floor. So if I'm just thinking about pointing my foot, I might point my toes and not my ankle. But if I'm thinking about putting my toenails on the floor, I have to stretch through that whole foot to get that top knuckle part of my toes on the floor. So if I think toenails on the floor, it really helps me get that full point. And then the other thing I can think about is tucking the toes underneath the arch of the supporting foot. So that's another thing that I think about, is tucking the toes underneath, which of course is easier when I'm on the ball of my foot. The next thing that I was noticing happening in my toe heels was that when I was going from the toe position to the heel, I was often, I wasn't really pulling up and going down. That was kind of like a thing that a lot of dancers did a few years ago, was like really lifting up that foot to try and make you look like you had more elevation. But something that I've been doing is like pulling out this way, and I think it's an attempt to try and pull this thigh back to make it look like I'm more turned out. So I end up going whoop, and then bringing it back in. Or sometimes it doesn't get all the way back in, and it's kind of somewhere here. So something I've been thinking about is toenails and then cross the heel. Because yes, you're not supposed to cross your heel, but for me I was pulling out so much that if I think about crossing, it actually does go straight down. The other thing you can think about is getting the heel over the arch of that foot and then putting it straight down. So you can think of cross or arch down, and then that'll get you more directly if you're a dancer that's kind of like taking a little roundabout way to get down to the heel. The last thing that I've been noticing about my toe heels, this I noticed very recently, like last week, I tend to travel a little bit side to side and tip a little bit on my toe heels, and I could not for the life of me figure out why, because I felt like, yeah, I'm going straight up and down, it's fine. But what I noticed is I was thinking about sending the ball of my foot straight down. So I would go heel, and then I was thinking about putting that foot straight down. So to me, that's straight down on one spot. But my toes, theoretically, if my foot is turned out to 90, are all the way out there, right? So if I put my toes straight down, I actually am going a little bit side to side. So I've started thinking about, from the heel, I try and think about stretching the ankle underneath of me before I can put the toe down on the other side. So I'm actually like snatching that supporting foot underneath of me so that from the heel, I snatch and it comes right underneath. So I'm not going straight down, straight down. So you see how that takes me just slightly side to side. Instead, I'm thinking getting that ankle stretched underneath of me before I come to the other side. So those are a few things that I've been working on to try and clean up my toe heels. Hopefully that can help some of you dancers that are working on toe heels. And happy dancing to you all. Hope this was helpful and gave you something to think about with your toe heels. And we'll see you guys next time.